Dazn reportedly looking to incentivize Canelo to take a 3-fight schedule that includes Billy Joe Saunders, Gennady Golovkin, and maybe Murata. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash app, and the Patreon family. We working. Sign up for UFC 248 ESPN Plus UFC pay-per-view. You can order that using the link in the description. You can get ESPN Plus versus, or you can actually bundle it and get ESPN Plus, Disney Plus, Hulu, $12.99. Any combination of those things. It definitely helps when you click on that link and support the channel by getting ESPN Plus. Now, listen, rumors come out, reports come out, whatever you want to call it, where they're saying that John Skipper and Dazn have met up with Canelo or spoken to Canelo about a potential 3-fight plan. They are saying this 3-fight plan would include a May fight, maybe at the T-Mobile Arena, versus presumably Billy Joe Saunders, maybe Caleb Smith. After that, in September, Mexican Independence Day weekend or whatnot, have Canelo fight Gennady Golovkin, and then possibly a third option versus Ryota Murata, obviously presuming everything goes well in those first 2 fights and Canelo, doesn't have a rematch clause that he has to, like a loss or something where he has to avenge that. And the reports are suggesting that Dazn is even willing to incentivize Canelo, I guess, further by making those fights. Very interesting things. Dazn, to me, just seems all over the place. It seems like they're failing in America and they don't have their footing. They don't have a real big foundation. I don't think they've anticipated to be where they're at right now with the American market. This is the market that they really wanted to capture. London-based company, and they're spread out in Austria and Spain and Japan. But you'll notice in those different territories, right now they're in like 8 or 9 markets, 8 other markets other than the USA, excuse me. And in those other markets, they still offer a 30-day free trial. In America, they don't offer the 30-day free trial because they want pure, revenue and people to pick up. But I don't think it's panned out like that. Now we're hearing that Dazn is going global and they're releasing in up to 200 territories, including the UK, which is going to create a conflict with, Sky Sports and maybe even BT Sports, where they're undercutting them and supposed to be at a cheaper price point. This is all reports, so we don't know the actual price point, but the reported price point is maybe £5, £9 a month versus what they're paying out there versus for the box office pay-per-view. And they're saying Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders or whoever he fights in May will be the first fight available on the Dazn UK platform. So, taking some business from Sky Sports, because previously Dazn USA would cover the USA fights, and then through Eddie Hearn and Golden Boy, they would probably have Sky Sports broadcast in the UK. But now Dazn is like, we'll take over, and we don't need Sky Sports to broadcast us in the UK. We'll make the app available in the UK. And they're saying the first fight to do that is Canelo versus whoever he's fighting in May. So very interesting times. It's interesting that with all the money that Canelo has reportedly signed on for with Dazn, I think it's $365 million for 10 or 11 fights. They're still trying to incentivize him. That's, surprising, because I think they've already overpaid for certain fights. The fights, at least in America, didn't garner the attention and get the type of subscriptions that they probably anticipated. Yet and still, it just seems like almost a clueless attempt to how to break into the American market. They put him in with Kovalev. No one really thought about that fight or asked for the fight, but Canelo's team pushed it as some big legacy fight, as if people had been, chomping at the bit and clamoring for it. And then it turned out to be really a failure because it took a backseat to another event that was unrelated. UFC 244 proved to be a bigger card. Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz for the BMF belt presented by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. That just turned out to be a bigger card where Canelo and Kovalev were made as main events after Ryan Garcia knocked out Duno. They were made to wait for the UFC event to conclude because it looked like basically they knew they were outmatched by the amount of people who maybe had signed up. So they were going to give people a chance to watch the UFC 244. And then they decided to halt and air after the UFC 244, I guess in an attempt so it's not simultaneously playing and fans would be able to come over after the UFC fight, instead of conflicting, which Dana White told him not to do. Dana White says, I heard about the Canelo fight, and if they want to go against us, them guys are crazy, but to each his own. And Dana White said that at the press conference, and you had the people from Dazn, like Joe Markowski, said there's not a big crossover market, so he didn't anticipate, problems. And the week of the fight, the day before the fight, they basically bowed down and made boxing look bad by selling out and waiting for the UFC. So very interesting times, and it's interesting that they're having to incentivize Canelo further than $365 million to get what they want. But good on Canelo, because it looks like his family is going to be taken care of for a long time, because he's already making great money, and making tons of money, even if his events do well or don't. And then now, I guess, depending on his star build and his ability to sell with Billy Joe Saunders, presumably, they're willing to give him some additional perks. The other thing that's very interesting to me is that DAZN continues to try to force feed the public a Gennady Golovkin third fight. I don't even know who wants to see this. First of all, if Canelo fights Billy Joe Saunders or Caleb Smith, the two reported names, it'll likely be at 168. His last fight was against Kovalev at light heavyweight, 175, meaning he would have to go down 15 pounds, which is usually not recommended. We've seen guys like Roy Jones Jr. fight at heavyweight and then come crashing down, and it wasn't a good look to jump that much weight when you're, pushing 30 or over 30 in boxing, when you have miles on you. Canelo's been fighting since he's 15. He reportedly has knee problems. So it wouldn't be good to just drastically go down in weight the later you are in your career. Again, Canelo, he's under 30, but he's been fighting since he's 15. So he still has a lot of miles, like training camps and wear and tear on his body, just because he's been fighting all of his life. As a pro, he turned 15. At 15, he turned pro. You know what I mean? So I don't know why they keep forcing the Golovkin fight. To be honest, it's like, I thought Golovkin lost to Derevyanchenko. I don't think this is even disputable. I thought Derevyanchenko beat Golovkin better than Jacobs and Canelo, who I also think beat Golovkin. But Derevyanchenko, getting him at the time he got him, and probably credit to Canelo, 2 fights with Canelo, and Jacobs, Triple G looked faded. He looked like a shell of his former self. He's about to be 38. By the time, if they fight in September, Golovkin will be 38. He doesn't really have the style where he has longevity in the sport. Like, he's not known for an immaculate defense. He's not known for using his feet to backpedal or, sway and stay out of danger. He's not known for these types of things. So Canelo, if he wins in May and fights Golovkin, I definitely look forward to Canelo, if he does fight Golovkin, stopping Golovkin, because the other X factor is, if they do fight, it'll happen on Canelo's terms. Canelo will have done more, be the bigger name, and he beat Golovkin in the last fight. So he's probably going to make Golovkin fight above 160, either at a catch weight of 165 or the full 168. That's likely. And at that weight, Golovkin ain't, he talked about moving up to 168, but he has never done it. And at age 38, with how he looked in his last fight and his like dry spells, he had like, because Golovkin used to be active. He used to fight maybe almost 4 times a year, 3-4 times a year. Now he's been inactive. Plus he don't have a style where he's like a overall, you know, what I would say complete fighter on offense and defense. So I just see Canelo stopping him. But for whatever reason, Dazn is hell-bent on making this fight, thinking that this is the biggest thing. I don't know why. I don't know who told him this, but at this point, I think Charlo fights with Canelo and stuff like that, or even Charlo Golovkin, these are all better fights. Andrade versus Canelo. And I think most fans are kind of over the Canelo Triple G saga. You know, especially at this point, especially if it ain't going to happen at 160. Canelo also gave away a lot of belts, you know, franchise champion. So he lost the WBC. He got stripped of that, got stripped of the IBF by not fighting Derevyanchenko because he was fidgeting around with Kovalev. And, you know, so much has happened. Canelo's fought at 175. Just too much has happened to the point where I don't even see how Golovkin would even remotely, even though there's people that said Golovkin won the first 2 fights, which I disagree with. I don't even think those people, if they're being honest, based on what we've seen and the fact that Canelo's fought at 175, he's hard to beat if you don't knock him out, and these different things, he has more experience higher than 160. If they were to fight at 168, even the people who said Golovkin won both times, the first 2 times, I don't even see them picking Golovkin to beat Canelo. I could see Golovkin getting stopped. Canelo is fresher. If he captures a good win over Billy Joe or Calum, he knocked out Kovalev. It's just looking like the inevitable. And I think this is kind of what Canelo wanted. He just wants to knock out Golovkin and in the trilogy like Brandon Rios did to Mike Alvarado and just knock him all the way out again. You know what I'm saying? So interesting stuff, but that's the latest. As far as the Murata, I'm not even going to spend too much time because Canelo, they're saying that would be the 3rd fight. Canelo got to get past the first 2 fights before we even talk about that. But, you know, Murata's just not a big fight. So good luck to Dazn, UK and Japan and all that, because those types of fights, that's the only market where it may even relate. Like if you can get that popping in Dazn China, Dazn Japan, Dazn Australia or UK or something. But none of these are really American fights, so I don't know about this American takeover with Dazn that Eddie Hearn was talking about, because again, these aren't fights that seem big to me in America. That's the latest. Let me know what you guys think. It's also surprising Canelo is fighting, you know, the 2nd day of May. So that means the last week of April will be his fight week. And it's already May 5th, or excuse me, it's already March 5th. And he's going to fight in less than 2 months. And we haven't heard an announcement. We haven't had a press tour, a press conference. I just think this is a poor way to promote. That's my opinion. If you love what I'm doing, smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.